Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your Sensei Al Bob. And so here it is, Saturday. Is it the 15th? I think it is. Of April. It's springtime. Things are leafing out, as I say. Elder AI, how you doing? So I went on the old internet and looked around for who and what was there. And it's war, rumors of war, blah, 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 right? And in reality, all that exists is love's co-creation, right? And Yahweh, God's love, unconditional love. And if you read the Bible, right, and you read um, the first part about, and in the beginning all things were dark, right? Where was God? He was in the dark. Then there was the Word, right? So the Word's pretty powerful. And that's kind of what the Bible is about, being the Word, right? And well, the Bible has been translated so many times and copied and copied and copied. It's like me writing, and every time I make a copy, it's copy, 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 copy. Right? And and I'm a wordsmith, so I make a I just don't write something and then put it out there. I mean, I do share it even when I do something like that. Just to get people's feedback. And if you want to read one of my novels, go to the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail, Dude Awake 42 at Gmail, get a hold of me, and I'll send you something. Right? Got any issues, that you just want to go mano a mano, give me a buzz. Dude Awake 42 at Gmail. Dude Awake 42 at Gmail. And I don't really judge folk. Now, I can be a cheeky monkey, but I don't really judge folk. Because it's not my place to do that. Huh. Anyway, kids will be kids. And that's what we are. We're children of God, right? We're babies. And if you think you know what it all is, that can only come from your ego, right? I don't know nothing, right? And don't believe a word I say. I'm here to serve love's co-creation, right? Here we are, 2 minutes and 51 seconds. And so, this is a live chat. That's what they call it, live chat, right? Live streaming, right? It'd be nice if somebody would chat, right? But usually you have to be there, So, so subscribe. So you'll be allegedly told that I'm going live, right? So let me read you something, since I'm pretty sure I can do this. This is something I wrote on the last few days. I'm working on this novel called Legacy, right? So, Do, 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 do. So I wrote about 15 pages in the last couple of days. And it's a extrapolation of, it's called By the Numbers, right? By the Numbers. And I put, after titles of things, I put um, something from the Bible. That if you would read that, if you read my book and have the Bible at the side, you would have a insight. So, by the numbers, first John 9, number 1, legacy, a fearless nature of intuition shifting. So, what is intuition? Right? I N T INTARWYSHION. What does that mean? That's a little asterisk, right? Shifting. And that means that inside you, you have a higher consciousness, and it is called your superconscious mind. There is your avatar, your you know, bag of water, and then your subconscious, or your is where you have one toe in the pool of the imaginary mirror that is always liquid. It's like the big link where we're all connected. And that is our soul. And our soul is like a fiber optic wire that kind of goes up to our Akashic record. And that's exactly what it is. It's a record of our soul's experience. But really, our avatar's experience brought to the Akashic record, right? And that's your subconscious mind, right? That's your Akashic record. And that is something that you have contact and part of, and is you, right? So that's your intra, that's your intra self, right? Interior self, right? And the wish is when, if you belong to a religion, often it's a transactional motif, especially like the Roman Catholic Church, you pray to God for, oh God, I want, this, or I want that, I'm sick, get me better, I want that, or I just committed this terrible sin, forgive me. And now God will do that, but all the other stuff, not so much. And then you go into other Christian religions, especially the churches of abundance, whereas if you give them, that is that part of the intuition, right? And so that's the wish. And the ion is the higher self, that you're kind of understanding everything you do, but you don't really have a response to it. And that's where I keep calling you the decider. And because you have free will, yes, you can decide. But in reality, God's love is the only real thing that exists, right? So if you think you're doing anything more than God's real love, then forget about it. So that's what we're talking about here, right? So by the numbers, First John 9, number 1, legacy, a fearless nature of intuition shifting, meaning being conscious of all of that, and being ready to talk to God, not to make a bargain, but to sublimate yourself, to be there as God's reflection, right? As Moses did, right? Moses represented God. That's why he's the character that he is. By the numbers, First John 9. Number 1, legacy, fearless nature of intuition shifting. I repeat things over and over and over again, so you can get it drummed into your head, right? Next line. Grammar is just a ruler, not to be measured. Spelling is just a spell. Like a poison apple, don't eat it. Meaning the written language isn't, in the Bible says, in the word, no, the word is powerful. Written things are incandescent shadow of truth, right? So grammar is a ruler, right? And usually to hit you with by the teacher or the nun or the whoever who thinks they're in power. Grammar is the ruler, not to be measured, meaning it's not there to really give you any sense of authority. Someone smacking you around with it, that's like authority? I don't think so. Spelling is just a spell, and it is. I mean, Hebrew is written, every number goes to a letter. Every word has a algorithm, and that's Kabbalah, right? That's a Jewish Kabbalah, right? And Christianity has its own esoteria. Pretty much every religion does. They're called mystery schools, right? Spelling is just a spell, like a poison apple. Don't eat it. This above statement speaks to the long rollout of the great lie of the illuminated incandescent, the shadow illusion of the non existent holograph of linear, his story, his stories, bloodbath, of the same old, same dystopian, old new world order of a not too brave new world, a 1984 whatever. The same bloodbath of tribal troops, of individual being enslaved by non existent realities of plutocratic fascist structures of religion, king, country, and stuff. And virtually everything in our histories is that, that plutocratic fascist structure of religion, king, country, and stuff. It's just not what's happening today. It's happened as far back as we have recorded history, and even further back from that. As long as Homo sapiens sapiens been around, we've been doing this. That has nothing to do with why, who, and what we are doing here. To change the narrative from a god awful, lying, non existing, lying reality to truth of love's co creation of all our relations, we must make a conscious choice with our life. You are the decider. Who are you? Now, the deciding part of this is not like, I'm going to do this because I want to do it. No. The deciding part is, I'm deciding to totally abrogate any ego I have and put myself in the presence of love's co-creation of God's. I will do my best, right? I will have a conscious intent to do my best, to do love's co-creation, to in every day and every way take the piece of the earth and make it stronger. To be awake to our ability to manifest a better life through service to love's co-creation, by living our lives through a legacy of fearless nature of intuition shifting. What does this mean? What is a legacy? It is a responsibility to live a life where humanity needs to be brought forth to the flow of the Aboriginal co-creation, where the substance, that of equality, is not seen but uncontrollably felt, where the sense of personal control or agency over the situation or activity is unconditionally surrendered to co-creation's higher power of the flow of love's one love, where the distortion of all temporal experiences and subjective experiences of time is altered through the doorway of co-creation's faith in love's flow. The experience of co-creation's flow's activity is primarily rewarding and filled with a personal, gratifying, independent feeling of well-being without motivation to any or all external rewards. Goals are clear. Feedback is immediate. Balance between opportunity and capacity of accomplishment of set endeavors of all these experiences are related as light and dark are neither inherently bad nor good, but are kept in balance by energy of faith's chaos. This is the cornerstone to love's co-creation. Thus, this flow of co-creation's faith is the substance of all things not seen yet needed for all quality to exist. So I write pretty densely, right? And I write it in a shamanic um, worldview. Like when you read this, it's different from me speaking it to you. Speaking it to you is like a performance piece, right? You reading it, you're experiencing a heavier dose of the shamanic energy, right? Because the words line up in a way that it affects you, right? Hearing me say it, it affects you too, but um, you reading it, right? So, like in that sense, as light and dark are neither inherently bad nor good, but are kept in balance by the energy of faith's chaos. This is the cornerstone of love's co creation, thus, the flow of creation's faith, co creation's faith, is the substance of all things not seen. And it's like chaos, that in that yin yang symbol, the circle has the event arise and keeping things in, and we are on this planet. We're like kept, incarcerated on this planet, and so that's the event horizon, and the light and the dark. It's nighttime, daytime, right? And there's this, almost snake-like little um, thing that separates the black from the white. And in the black, in the black, there's a white dot. In the white, there's a black dot. That is the faith of chaos, right there. Right. Faith is the essence of the evidence of co-creation's flow. For the flow of co-creation is the movement of dream times truth that only lives in faith. Who looks outside of faith will be confused. Who looks within side is awakened to love's truth of love's faith in one love's flow. Power, this faith powers the artist in the first person with the flow of the Aboriginal co-creation to overcome all obstacles in the fact the obstacle is the fuel that powers the manifestation of co-creation through faith's ability to overcome all obstructions, to overstand love's forgiveness, which is Jesus Christ. So that paragraph is basically when I'm talking about the Aboriginal first person, that's Adam, right? And he freely chose, and God knew everything. So God knew that Adam was is you know you have dominion over everything here, but that tree over there that you're taking care of, don't eat of that fruit, right? And if you do, you will die. Meaning, he will stop being a just a character within inside um, the Garden of Eden. He will be ejected into this illusionary world that is represented by Lucifer's incandescent light, right? That has shadows, right? But by doing so, that is the obstruction, right? Separation between God's love and ourselves. But because that's there, we have to, you know, it's a lot easier to just do what God says inside of the Garden of Eden and never even think about it. Just do it. It's all done. It's all this, essence of one love. But there's no place for the ability of the spirit to ascend. It's just going to stay there. It's like me here out in the deep green. Last 20 years has been a nature preserve. Nobody's been here, no noise, no nothing. And that's why it was just full of animals. The bunnies would come and sit by me while I was on my lawn chair, and they wouldn't go after my garden, my vegetables. They would just eat the grass. I didn't even need a lawnmower. Just it would take a month or two for them to chew it, but it was okay, right? I kept it as a lawn, right? And everybody else stayed in the woods and did their job, right? And I had bears and cougars and mountain lions and feral cats and feral dogs and all kinds of creatures, big and small, just kind of roaming through my place. And there was plenty for everyone. And so I never, ever got, you know, traps or poisons or any of the above. Now, there was stuff all over the place that if anybody got into it, there was chlorine, Clorox, and there was ammonia. I mean, things that I cleaned stuff with, and there was, gasoline, and there was other ethyl products, but they were all in containers that were closed, and you'd have to really go at it. And so it wasn't until the cockroaches started coming from California and Florida, and they were running away from something to come here. And this one guy said, "I always wanted to live in a cul-de-sac. I feel safe." Well, he basically took over other people's lands and put a big fence around it, and he cut down all a path all around the forest that were made out of blackberry bushes, which are better fence than anything because they're big stickers on them. He took them all. He took a roundup to them, right? And it has fouled our water. And we used to have the most amazing drinking water here. Now it's okay, but it's just a few grades better than the stuff you get out of your faucet in a town or a city, right? So, and it's going to get worse because they're destroying this place. So this place is so sensitive, so like the Garden of Eve that just 3 years of this. Well, they, cockroaches really started coming maybe 5 years ago before the pandemic. They were getting out of Dodge and buying large chunks. And but they weren't going nowhere. They weren't building anything because there was no cell signal, there was no satellite signal, there was no internet. It was 30 miles across this Walmart. So, they, but it was beautiful. The lake was right over there. So they didn't understand the flow of the Aboriginal co-creation, right? And so they were the obstacle. So here I am, the Aboriginal, and I'm seeing these guys, and you know, everyone was there was a big land grab, and so everybody was selling this stuff for lots. And but I live here for nothing. I live like a millionaire on $400 a month because I've given up all materialism. So if I were to, even if I were to get a big chunk of change, there's really nowhere I could go. And so I was talking to God, about a month ago. Basically, said that these folks were sent to me because they needed to let go of their fear. And they all call themselves Christians, but they all carry guns, right? And they all threaten everybody, and they all basically, one of the biggest sins you can do that God was talking about is having false witness against your neighbor. So they do that to so it's an interesting dynamic. So God said, "Be patient, stay here, don't worry. He's got my back. Um, do my best to show these folks unconditional forgiveness and love, and speak the word of truth." Right? So I read the Bible every day, 5, 6, 10 times. I pray 20 times. And I write. So we'll pick up where I left off. Face loves co-creation's flow is always moving towards oh, things not seen but intrinsically understood as worth doing. The vision of the artist in the first person with the flow of face co-creation is focused like a laser through the transcendental lens of the heart of the artist in the first person with the flow of face aboriginal co-creation of love's one love. It is this one love that is the only truth. That's God. God is the one love. All else is illusion. And we are Father, Son, Holy Ghost, right? So love's co-creation is Father. Son is Jesus. Spirit is us, right? It is this noble cause of love's aesthetic that so many have lived and died for, sacrificed for, left their native homes to travel so far for. From this common need of this superlative human relationship will come a foundation of understanding, or truly overstanding. We're going to change that. Because if you understand something, basically, the truth is over your head, right? And all you can see is the belly of the beast. If you overstand something, you're above it. You're on top of the mountain looking down into the valley, right? Art's co-creation is this point of discourse. To overstand as old and overstand as old as the first cave paintings. For mankind, the highest order of social intercourse is not commerce, but culture's spirituality. That is the artist's creation, as one loves faith in nature's co-creation's flow. So, when you're making that art, so I've been an artist, my whole life. I lived in Soho, Tribeca, Williamsburg, Brooklyn, as an artist. At the very beginning, right when there was nobody there except me and a few other people. Julian Schnabel, you know, Keith Haring, Judy Ripka, Kiki Smith, a whole bunch of others. And all these people did art not to get rich, because most of them came from relatively wealthy families. Most of them were white, you know, and they were pretty middle class bourgeois or upper middle class bourgeois, or you know, pretty wealthy family. Not like the Rockefellers, but you know, grandpa figured something out, and everyone's sitting pretty good, right? So all these people were artists because they had to. It was something inside that that flow was they were feeling, the highest order of social intercourse is not commerce, but culture, spirituality. That is the artist's creation, as one loves faith in nature's co-creation of the flow. What is it about nature's faith, forgiveness, gratitude, humility, and sanctifying grace that makes the human experience so difficult and rewarding at the same time? What does all this mean? And what is the path of love's flow in context to find outcomes of what the enterprise and what action is needed? Meaning the enterprise is what's going on. All of that's around us. And, the fearless nature of the intuition shifting. What does this mean? Drift of histories has carried the aesthetic human spirit to where its sovereignty has become subservient to the adoration of the evolution of the thing, money and worldly material power above humanity's loving existence. Love, our birthright of nature, is the expression of being the Aboriginal first person, the co creation of was one love. This is a seeming reality that permeates all that is. To judge this to be good or bad, to do so, I would have to believe in good and bad. And I do not. Good and bad are relevant, subjective terms defining an even bigger irrelevance, belief, where within all things there is only the light, the darkness, and chaos. The yin yang symbol is a more appropriate representation of nature. Of this, nature is a clearer idea of God than a anthropomorphized Big Daddy. Nature looks to balance rather than the roller coaster ride of our animated fear house ride of his story. Balance is not conflict of good or evil. It is the admission of self-loathing. To that love that is all there is, by rejecting ego's taste of self-serving thing, by rejecting ego's taste of the self-serving thing. It doesn't taste right. Within the balance of nature as God, the idea that this thing orientation of as good or bad makes no sense and is the biggest threat to God's love's enterprise of co creation of all our relations, conscious ascension of our spirit, meaning human beings aren't the be and all. We're all our relations. Every feathered, furred, skinned, scaled thing, creature is part of our brethren. And so, as we destroy nature and our environment, we're destroying ourselves. But it's an illusion because the only truth is love's reality. God is love's enterprise, creation, which must be infinitely stronger informed than that which is designed to delineate and to express taste of the thing. How could we hope to find linguistic or cultural symbols which, within the heartless artifice of the thing defined by taste, that would express in an adequate way the quality and essence of nature's beauty? Our corporate belief in taste determines the experience of the world of the thing. One man's righteous book burning is another Holocaust. The problem assumes a critically new and very different shape as we change our starting point. As soon as we define reality, not in terms of metaphysical systems like Platonic method of ideas, but in terms of capricious analysis of the human prejudged taste protocol, pre, no, preju- pre, Prejudicial. My mouth is not pumping that word out. Knowing of what is good and bad as National Socialism, communism, and plutocratic fascism attempts. Man cannot so far know the connection of cause and events as that he may venture to do wrong in order to do right. Samuel Johnson Passel's. That's his book, Passelas. Love's enterprise seems to have lost its way within the present corporate hegemony, where the focus is most intense on the cultural realm of money's power and culture. That is the aesthetic dimension of the branding of control is considered the premium of importance, where it's not, and at this moment, do we really, where it's not, and at this moment, do we really need another Dark Ages? Will the Enterprise survive the weight of another 900 years to illuminate the transformation of humanity from incandescent lies to photonic truth, from useless eaters to co creators of the universe? We need to use the experience of co creation within the indigenous psychological feature of the individual in first person. And that is, when you're in the first person, it's not your ego. That first person is that was Adam, who is man God, right? Who could talk to God, who walked with God, you know? To co create by a higher cultural outside force within the manifestation of the enterprise. The relationship between the culture and the history was seen by Marxism's dialectic as a physical transformation, as central as political and economic control. The ambiguity was not a question of cause and effect. This issue was not critical to Marx. He argued, as did the capitalists, that the economic constituted the essential substratum of history and the foundation to humanity's reason to live, the enterprise. This golden rule, who has the gold rules, can only work for so long. God's enterprise is more than power for God is love's enterprise. To manifest, it must include the body politic. That means more than we, the people, for that was only the white guys who signed the paper. That bit of history was a good bait and switch, but like all ruses, they are a time sensitive. It is not. And when I use the word it is as the physical representation of the the illusion of the material business world. It is this, it is that. I live in the reality. It is where it is not time for a new three-card Monte. As God is love, the success of love's enterprise is not a matter of who owns what, for the foundation of the enterprise is one of faith and not the control of belief in a specific ideology. Fearless nature of intuition shifting equals love's co-creation equals where all our relations need to align to the mystery of co-creation that has always been felt since our first cave painting. This need to share, to express what it is to be the creator in the first person is our love's fearless nature. Intuition shifting is tantamount to being the God in man. This experience is what is needed for love's enterprise to manifest the difference in living aware to the actuality of our project it's okay, let me read this again. Intuition shifting is a trans Intuition shifting is tantamount to being the God in man, period. This experience is what is needed for love's enterprise to manifest the difference in living aware to the actuality or to the projection of perception. Meaning, what are we doing? Are we projecting what we think is real or are we perceiving it? Well, all the time, our kind has suffered in the hiding from our reason for being by not being able to understand the difference between ego's conditional love's material illusion and our one love's unconditional essence of conscious awareness. The enterprise of spiritual consciousness intent of transcendental evolution from mud puppet to enlightened awareness of the intuition shifting. That is tantamount to being the Godhead in man. This experience is what is needed for love's enterprise to manifest. So that was number one of By the Numbers, right? And I just kind of wrote this. I still need to go back and wordsmith it. And so I don't speak like most people. When I was in first grade, a nun murdered me, crushed my larynx, crushed my voice box, broke my jaw, broke my left orbit, and made me deaf in my left ear. So I hear and see and speak in ways that most people don't. And I also, the way my jaw shifts, and in fact, I have no teeth. Um, I salivate a great deal, and so it's like I'm swimming in words, right? So I'm just giving a little 411 of how you're hearing me, right? So when people complain about anything about their physicality, my whole life I've had these issues, right? When I died when I was born, and I was a really sick child until I was 10, and I died when I was 10, and when I was in first grade, I died too. I mean, but not really. I just, was really beat up. So number two, go with love's new old alternative aesthetic, the we in me co-creation, and so say we all. A novel of issues to represent by your Sensei Bob. In the Deep Green, 1120. Chapter 1. Sitting on a crapped out, stretched, thrown out, unwanted, whale mart, slave girl lawn chair. Love's unheard voice. Each must, says, each must have the ability to bring by their presence the most positive outcome to our community's cultivation's ability to change for the better the social, political, economic prosperity for all our community of all our relations. Meaning all these wars, all these negative things, the crime, the this, the that. It's let's see if I can quickly find something. Boop, 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 boop. Meaning my one of my premises.
Elite Russian tank division fell into the trap of Ukrainian soldiers in Vuhledar. Ukrainian soldiers Putin.
For serious. For example, did you? They can shove it up their. And be sure to pick up the artichokes.
What could possibly pack so much?
In 1930.
Yeah, like the.
This video was found in a box of junk somebody had picked up at.
Charlie.
Okay, Twinkle Toes. I probably shouldn't be giving this away, but I'm going to tell you how to counter a TOW missile. Now, some people have said Russia can shoot machine guns at the launch crew. But here's the problem with that. Most people only have experience with TOW missiles at the launch site.
How much people...
As I said, listen, officer, we'll stop right. Moment of truth. Sir, you said you're shooting if...
He has unleashed a monster from the depths of the Ukraine.
Chief, if we're expecting any friendly... McEnroe got slapped.
Oh, look, Dad. This...
Here's Malcolm X.
Negroes and the white public is gullible enough to back them up. This makes the Negro community a police state. This makes the Negro neighborhood a police state. It's the most heavily patrolled. It has more police in it than any other neighborhood, yet it has more crime in it than any other neighborhood. How can you have more cops and more crime? Crime. It shows you that the cops must be in cahoots with the criminals. Negroes and the white public is gullible enough to...
So that's pretty much what you see. I mean, that's Malcolm X. That was in the early 60s. And he's speaking the truth. And so a few years later, he was assassinated. Because he's starting to realize in that speech, they only gave you that little bit of the speech, but he's starting to realize that it's not white people per se, it's more a class thing, right? And so, and I'm saying, I go even further than that because I say all of this is an illusion of ego, of, people say Satan, first of all, God within the construct of everything made everything, right? Now, who knows what's above God or to the left of God or the right of God? We have no idea, right? And when everything was black before the word, we have no idea, right? But there was something going on. So, and the Big Bang, or that big, when it went from everything was dark to light, that was Lucifer, right? The morning star, the most beautiful angel, right? Because and so God made that. So God knew Lucifer was going to do. God made Lucifer the way Lucifer is, right? So God is definitely, got a plan here that we don't really know the bigger picture of it all. But we do know this: God is love's enterprise creation, which must be infinitely stronger and formed than that which is de- designed to delineate and to express taste of the thing, which doesn't exist. That's ego. How could we hope to find linguistic and cultural symbols within the heartless artifice of the thing, defined by taste, that would express in an adequate way the quality of the essence of nature's beauty? We can't. It's not going to happen. All we get is artifice, just a make believe. Our corporate belief in taste determines our experience of the world of the thing. One man's righteous book burning is another's Holocaust. Right? The problem assumes a critically new and very different shape as we change our starting point, meaning where are we starting? Before, when everything was black, or when the word was, or the Big Bang, or when the garden was made, or when Adam left the garden, or then all of the Old Testament or the New Testament, or the Quran or the Bhagavad Gita. You know, that's what I'm talking about. The problem assumes a criticality, critically new and very different shape as we change our starting point. That's what I'm talking about. That's why there's war and conflict and all of that. And it's there to be that chaos that forces us to change for the better. Otherwise, say goodnight, Gracie. As soon as we define reality, not in terms of metaphysical systems like the Platonic method of ideas, which, Platonic love, right? What is love? But in terms of capricious analysis of the human prejudicial, prejudicial, Prejudicial. Like my mouth won't kick it out. Taste, knowing of what is good and bad. As National Socialism said, what was good and bad, right? They had, the Nazi laws. Communism had the communism laws, and plutocratic fascism, we have our democratic laws. So, love's enterprise seems to have lost its way within the present corporate hegemony, right? So I go on. So I repeat things and change them subtly inside, right? Relationship between culture and history was seen by Marxism as a dialectic of physical transformation, as a central to the political and economic control. The ambiguity was not a question of cause and effect, right? It was the economic cause, what was going on, right? So we get down to, for the foundation of the enterprise is one of faith and not the control of belief, a special ideology, right? Our relations need to align to the mystery of co-creation that has always been felt since our first cave painting. This need to share and express what it is to be the creator. And so that little cough is my saliva going down my throat and drowning me. I continually waterboard myself when I talk. And I have to talk with my head straight up, and then it doesn't do it. But looking down at the screen, I'm waterboarding myself. Let's see. Intuition shifting is tantamount to being the God in man. This experience is what is needed for love's enterprise to manifest the difference in living aware to the actuality, meaning that's a term talking about what something is worth in financial terms, right? Or the projection of the perception within all the time our kind has suffered in by hiding from our reason for being, by not being able to understand the difference between ego's conditional love. Here they come. And they don't walk. They have to Right. See, it was nice and quiet. It's just my voice and the birds every now. But this place used to be full of birds. Not anymore. And he's got his thingamajig going. Transactional evolution from mud puppet to enlightened awareness of intuition shifting. Go with love's new old alternative aesthetic, the we and me co-creation, and so say we all. What is our kind's actuality? Do we exist as we wish it to be into a reality that is just our avatar's ego prison, delusion reality? Number 3. Or is it that which it is? What happens when our kind waits no more in the tomorrow of the certainty of death, where we live in our ego's projection rather than living in our love's perception of love's co-creation's eternal moment? Each generation begins anew a laborious cycle of banishment, banishing our kind to the ignorance of our ego's prejudice, suffering, forever a child in the dark, being condemned to being tormented by our ignorance, to bear the pain of the tomorrow and tomorrow over and over for eternity, being conscious our potentially trapped in our self awareness. This is delusion of ego's illusion of our free will's choice. Let's see. We are a curiosity to ourselves. We would like to overstand our linear experience of time, for it is such an impractical state of being, taking our whole life to understand nothing by being under the tedious, slow process of experience of our physical distraction, of our life's illusion of ego, lack of unconditional love, of our forgiveness. Can we stop time's ripple of history by events that have already occurred but has no difference in existence? We project that we believe with prejudice. Let's see. Leaves only wars conditional. Let's see. Number 3. God only knows what you've been through. Don't give up. Don't give in. When it is a dream, it's between you and God. Don't give up. Don't give in. It's a dream. And that dream is between you and God. Proactive aggression, prejudice, belief in the big lies, protocol of fear. Leaves only war's conditional love. Without unconditional love, our illusion, reactive aggression of ego. Perpetual self-loathing repeats his story like an undigested, rancid meal. Hydroxychloroquine less toxic. Chloroquine arthritis, quin of the puppet soul. Religion, enlightenment, separation from love's co-creation codified the 18th century materialism, imperialism, romanticism bloodied the 19th century geopolitics. Fear's ego put Isaac Newton's moneyed order of class, color, wheel of material fascism in charge. Mis- mis- Misogynism's light, pure class, color, macroeconomics. Who has the gun owns you. If the crack in time were filled and our kind had nowhere to hide, would we decide to live in love's one love, gutting polemics? The color of gold appears on the edge of the light and dark, of the cusp of nothing, products of time's reason where things preserve between the human mind and our prejudices' eyes, pressure of ego's illusion is creating a double toil and trouble, boil and bubble of conditional separation from the unconditional love. We anthropomorphize what we think we know nothing about, of what really is, code out. Boil and bubble, double, toil and trouble, fire, burn, and cold and bubble. Charles Levier, Harvard chemist, nanotech 5G, wavelength of transhumanism, global proportional researched soul. Causality is a mystery to us. Double, toil and trouble, fire, burn, and cauldron bauble, iron root, toe of newt, fool's back, and tongue of dog. Anders fork, magpie wing, dearth of earth, bones of trees, nightshade and teeth of child, nightshade ring around the rosy. Winter's raven calls, harvest moon's full blood of sisters nothing earned. Code out. The Battle of Ashencroft. Odor out of chaos. What is this life? What is our existence meant to be about? Take me to the world. Show me the world. I shall have the world when I rule the world. The young Bob doctor sat alone in the courtroom waiting for the council to form up, thinking of issues facing all his relations. Its way to live in a culture and believe that it is real and supportive, even if it's dead and toxic by billions of years. And that is what is facing his beloved Ashencroft. Code out. Lock the door to be safe, keep love out. Can anyone be trusted without a gun pointed at? Do you see what we see? Nothing but ashes. Who are these Cybermen? They are everywhere. Lust to be, it is. What is this virus? What is this thing? Worshipped gold machine. Cybermen are everywhere in their ego suits. They think we are hallucinating in the AR whip. They are blaming the tomorrows. No, they are blaming the tumors for our truth to power. Are there any proofs to their claims to power? With the powers that should be not be found at all. There is no stopping them. No way they are walking away from the most powerful weapons in the known ego universe of message scared. Our message scared them to build that evil. When you question their power with your truth of love, it is like you have a tumor. You're sick to the point that you can reach through time to where you're getting stronger, where you have gone past observation of love to the interaction with love. Sorry for the culture you never knew. Now, what or when you might need something. Sorry for the clutter. You never know what or when or you might need something. I am one of the originals, one of the builders. They, their reality to your perceived dimensional existence. Relax. What do you see? You don't know. Where am I? Am I dead? Not as you understand. Do you fear death? No. Do you fear living? Nothing you can understand is the way we are. Very curious of your kind and your experience of time. So that's kind of what I wrote the last 2 days. Needs a little sharpening up, but I will go back to the live stream and see if anyone has said anything. Let's see. 1 hour and 1 minute. Token. Let's see. I'm just stopping by. Lana. Hey, Lana, I tried to call you. I'm going to try and call you again now. Okay? Why don't you try and call me? Maybe I'll call you. Let's see. There we go. Atlanta. Viber. Out call. Atlanta, I'm calling you. I think I'm calling you anyway.
So, hi.
Oh, there she is.
Here I am. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi. Oh. Yep.
So it's been a while since we've talked. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing.
Me too. I'm just doing, but I'm trying to keep it in perspective. See, that's how you can get through just doing.
Yep.
Because
Just being.
one of the things I always say to myself, well, it could be worse.
Yep. I wish I had. To be honest, some fucking marijuana right now.
Well, yes.
But I don't. I live in
Is
Sweden,
it legal
so.
there in your country? Did you go away? No, there you are. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. Is it legal there? I mean, I remember going to Amsterdam and it was wide open.
Yeah, but this is Sweden.
This is Sweden.
Yeah. So it's
Yep. So
Yep.
when Sweden says, Lana, you should take a vacation, where do you go? Does the state still give you vacations?
Thing is, I've been away, been to Kosovo in the Balkans.
Yeah.
Yeah, and haven't been there for 15 years.
Ooh.
So, holy shit, I have a lot of relatives. And that took, everything. I mean, all of my energy.
What good perceptions did you get from that? Like insights.
That I love my family. I love them.
Right. So Kosovo is has kind of rebuilt itself from the war zone, right?
Yes, it has. Actually, it's been I wish I could send you, like, I'll send you the video how it is. Like, in the morning, when we wake up in Pristina, in the capital
Right.
of Kosovo, because it's a small country, and it's bird choppings and buildings being built, and in the night, also, every time after 1 o'clock in the night, I don't know, PM, AM, but night, then the dogs start to talk. And dogs over there they are homeless, and after 1 p.m. they do their talking.
Do you hear that noise? Did you hear that noise?
Yes.
That's the Californians, the Floridians, the cockroaches that have descended on my nice little Garden of Eden. They don't walk, they have to drive motorcycles and four-wheelers, and they have to have loud, music playing.
Yeah. Yep.
And all the animals have run away. All the birds have left.
Yep.
And the trees, it's really only been 5 years that, like 5 years ago, they started to come in a way that they hadn't before, but still just a few. But with the, the whatchamacallit, the
noise.
Yeah, with the COVID-19, they have come in like a monsoon, and it's just sad to watch it. So, and reason I live here, it costs me $160 a year to live here. That's my taxes. I own the place straight up, so it would be very difficult for me to live anywhere that cheaply. And I'm trying
You're
to.
in the right place.
Yeah. So, and God keeps telling me, don't worry about it. I got your back. And when it's time to go, something will come about. That'll be great. So, just be patient and learn from this experience and help them as much as you can. And write and read. And, but I was here 20 years and it was like, I spent the whole 20 years just watching the grass grow and talking to Mr. Bunny. And you can only do that so long, right? So these guys came in and they're going to, motivate me to do something else. That's what I'm up against. And you're against that too. And I think the whole world is kind of against that. The war in Ukraine is showing, how stupid all of this is.
I know.
And a good deal of the population is picking up on that. So what are the people in Sweden? They're pretty. I know a certain way of Turkey blocking Sweden from going into the NATO is a good thing for you Swedes. It'll keep you still down on the farm.
You want me as an Albanian to talk about fucking Turks?
Yes, yeah, right. Exactly.
I don't want to.
Right.
Nah, I don't
Don't
want to
wanna
do
go there.
that.
Don't wanna
I don't
go
want to do that. I don't want to go there. I'm not gonna go there because
Well,
I'll
I know,
fucking.
right. The history is intense, and so there's another thing of the mechanism of keeping humanity not able to evolve to their higher self. Because the thing that went on with Turkey and Albania wasn't just Turkey and Albania. It was all of the people who were involved in World War I did that. Not just Turkey. I mean, the Turks did it to the Albanians physically, but politically, economically.
Yep. 500 years.
Right. And it's constantly doing that. Like for those 500 years, the Romans were facilitating the Albanians to do that, you know,
I know.
and the Turks
I
to do
know.
that, right? So it's a continuation of this thing that we're looking right in front of us. So again, you're like me. I have, compared to what you have within that dynamic, my thing dealing with the cockroaches is nothing. you know, because I've had this place 20 years old to myself and loved it, and they came in just not even 2 years ago. Albania and Turkey have been at this for 500 years. So what I'm experienced, but it's almost the same thing. Almost, not quite.
No, the thing is, Turks, I don't like them.
Oh, I understand. But it's only that
I just
certain
don't.
element, meaning not all Turks are like that.
No shit, Sherlock. I know that, Watson.
Right. So, and that's the
But
other thing.
the thing,
That's the other things that keeps us at each other's throats.
the thing is, no, I've never. The thing is, we've never been on their fucking throats,
Yes.
but they just took over everything.
Well, because they were the Persian Empire. It wasn't just Turkey. There was all of that.
There
Those
is
guys over
nothing
there.
called a Turk.
Right.
There is nothing called a Turk.
Right. Exactly.
They're just a mix of what the fuck ever.
Of the Persian
It's
Empire.
just- Can we just respect that?
Yep.
There is nothing called that.
Right. And most
They
people don't
call it
understand
what the
that.
fuck
you know,
ever.
Right. But most people don't understand history. That it's this really fucked up scam. It's just a scam.
Yep. It's a fucking scam,
It's a
man.
fucking scam.
After all this shit.
And
Oh, shit.
so it forces people to drink, take drugs, and do stupid shit to like self-medicate and escape it. And there is no escaping it. There is no escaping it.
So for 500 years, the Turks did what? What?
What do they do?
They fucking made us go from do or die.
And not just you Albanians, you were the Chaw boys, but the Turks did that through you, through both World War I and World War II. Those,
I know.
those
So,
and the scammy.
why do you think?
The Turks, and it would be one thing if they were doing it for like control of the world. They did it for chump change. It wasn't even like they didn't really get anything for it except a lot of karma.
Well, karma's a bitch.
Yeah, karma's a bitch.
And the Turks will get it.
Well, and they've
slowly.
but they've been getting it on the slow burn. They've been on.
Oh, they will get it.
Right, and that's
They are
right.
getting it.
But they'll drag a lot of people with them, and so that's the problem.
Nope. They will not.
No, I mean
Not this time.
Not this time. Okay. Well, again, it unless it goes down, you don't know what's going down. I mean, this war in Ukraine.
Yeah, fine.
It's like pretty obvious.
Yeah, well, what the fuck are the Turks? Can they just shut the fuck up for once?
No, they don't.
Shut up.
They don't seem to be able to. No.
Nah.
But this is an opportunity
Why
for
the-
you to rise above that animosity. I know it's tough, but
Yeah, well, it's always like that. Always.
and it is for all of us because it's really only we're looking in the mirror. The only guy or gal we can deal with is us. What we see in the mirror, how we can do
Always.
rise
Always.
above. be our better self. Right?
Yes.
And so,
Yes, and sometimes, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
and we shouldn't have got into the Turk discussion because
Okay, we don't have to. We can we can turn around. We can do a K turn. We can, So I mean, so how's the weather?
the weather is Swedish. Oh,
It's
I
spring.
mean, like,
It's spring there. It's spring there.
it's. I'm gonna fool you every time here.
Yeah. Yep.
So, how's the weather over there?
Oh well, we've had like Christmas, like about the Thursday before Christmas and a week after New Year's, it was 60 below zero here every day. And then it went to 70 degrees. For the rest of January and February, it was 70 degrees. I mean, not all the time, but it didn't get. We had about 2.5 weeks of unbelievable, ice station zebra. It's like unbelievable. And we really had no. And when it snowed, it was like little balls of styrofoam. I mean, it was snow there, but half of it was just, so I don't shovel the snow. I just broom it when it's, still fluffy, right? So I kind of broomed it where my little path is, so I can walk from here to there without killing myself. And then a day or so later, it got a little warmer, and so the snow melted, and what was left was styrofoam balls.
Oh my.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They're putting shit in the air that is super surreal. I mean, God knows what that shit is doing to not just us, but everything else. But so we've had a relatively warmish, I mean, some really ridiculous cold days, but mostly relatively warm and comfortable kind of days.
Good.
So
Good.
So it was. But Colonel Sanders, the Floridian, he brought up with him his own slaves. He had a little business where he mowed lawn, and he had these guys who were meth heads, and so he brought them up to be his slaves. And so that's been surreal. So when it got cold, he took his family, went back to Florida, and left his slaves in the woods to freeze to death. And I couldn't, I have this school bus that in the 80s and 90s, I drove it around America and went to, did all kinds of interesting things with it. And I parked it here about 15 years ago. And so it's not going anywhere. And it has a wood stove in it. So I said, hey, boys, go stay in the barn, go stay in the thing. And so they did, and they survived. But Colonel Sanders didn't think twice about doing that. And he's a Christian.
Oh, shouldn't that be like being Christian, I mean, like, come on, the Vatican Pope just said that Catholics can marry women. The announcement. They can literally, like,
you mean
marry
priests?
women.
You mean priests? But you know why?
Priests.
You know why priests in back in the day they were allegedly celibate? It's because they were fucking around so much that they were leaving babies everywhere. So the Vatican said, hey, this is costing us money. So we'll say that these guys are celibate. So when they knock chicks up, they can say, oh, no, I'm celibate.
Okay, so the Pope said that it was, now when we look back in the book, it was just supposed to be a short term.
Yeah, short term, just a weekend or two,
Holy crap!
I know it's hypocrisy beyond hypocrisy. It's like,
what the fuck? Yeah.
I mean, look at our politicians. I mean, God, please. There isn't a single honest politician in Sweden. all of your politicians are full of shit too, right? There's nobody
Yep.
really representing, right?
Nope.
Right. I mean, we have a Supreme Court judge, a black guy, and he's taken millions of dollars of gifts, and because when the Supreme Court was put in, they said, well, we're only going to put really good guys, honest guys, or stand-up guys in the Supreme Court. And now we have drunks and crooks and there is no controlling the Supreme Court. So it's like, so somebody wants to steer the United States into a civil war, and that's what's going on. What's really interesting, that guy Manafort, who was a media consultant for Fox and then became Donald Trump's head of his getting elected campaign. He's the guy who went to Ukraine and set up a whole bunch of, entities that weren't ever there that started causing political friction. I mean, Ukraine is just a corrupt, kind of interesting little country. I mean, they got pretty good food. They got a nice beach. They got a nice opera house.
Yeah, and they also got Skanderbeg.
Right.
So that's our hero.
Right.
And they put him in their country.
Right.
Like a statue.
Right.
Looking like
a hero.
Nope. I don't think that respects.
Oh, they don't.
You
No,
don't
no.
do
They're like when I grew up in New York City, Second Avenue, every 3 blocks was a different nationality, right? So I played with Lithuanians and Cubans and Russians and you name it, right? And I remember I was playing with these kids stickball, and when I came in, my grandma said, "You shouldn't play with those boys." I said, "Why? They're nice guys." I said, "Well, they're Ukrainian, and yeah, they're nice when they're nice, but when they're not nice, ooh, they're not very nice." And they go to the, other people can be mean and cruel and maybe make up. These people can't do that. Once they go into "I'm going to get you" mode, that's it. I mean, they'll fight to the last one, and so.
Yeah, well, I don't know. The thing is, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing right now, because
it's not a good thing. It's never a good thing, because the only thing with fighting, the innocent are always the ones who pay the price.
I know.
And you as an Albanian should know that, because really, that Holocaust wasn't caused by any geopolitical or military thing. It was the innocent paid the price. That's why it was so horrific. And it's just, you see it happen.
But Albania made Einstein survive, just so you know.
Right? Yeah, Einstein survived, yes.
Because of Albania.
Yep.
And they got the permission from Rome to do that.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. I mean, the Vatican is, just another corrupt scam. Not to say that Jesus wasn't okay, or not to say Christianity in its purest form isn't okay, but we don't have any of that. I mean, now there are people.
The thing is, it's just books.
Yeah. So.
I mean, we can read sci-fi. It's books.
Yep. Yeah, they were literary people. They are literary people. They still are. So what are you doing for fun?
Me, right now, right here, it's like almost 0-0 almost.
Really?
And I don't know, AM, PM, I still don't.
Right.
My brain.
You just tell me the number of
It's
hours.
in the night. It's in the night. It's 20.
Right. It's not quite midnight.
2, 3, 4, 9.
Right.
Clock.
Right.
And it's night, and I had today my mom and me, um, it's been so intensive these couple of months. But so my brother showed up
Oh, really?
with yeah,
Is he live
and
in
my mom
Sweden, or does he come from someplace else?
Jönköping.
Okay.
Remember?
Yeah.
I always told.
Right.
Yeah. So they have a baby called Sara,
No.
and she wanted to come here because she wanted to go to her BFF,
Right.
which is me.
Yeah, are you?
Yeah,
How old is she?
she's 6.
Oh, I love that age. They're smart. They're funny. They want to do everything, and there's no whole bars. I really like kids that young. They got a really good mind. They're smarter than any grown up.
No. You want to?
Is she your only niece or nephew? Do you have other nieces and nephews?
Please, I don't want to talk about family.
You don't want to talk about family. Okay. How's the weather? Okay, here's another
Can't
one.
handle it.
Have you
It's been
seen
a lot.
what books are you reading and what movies have you seen?
Well, I've seen a TV show on HBO called The Last of Us.
The last what?
The Last of Us.
Oh yes. I heard about it. Yeah. I don't have TV
Yeah.
or
With
internet,
the fungus.
but
LSD.
Mhm.
And I like that.
What do you get out of it? What's the storyline? I mean, I've heard of it. I don't know much about it.
Well, I don't want to spoil. I'm sorry.
Oh, the spoilers. Okay, no spoilers. Okay, no spoilers. So, what do you get out of it? What does it make? What kind of reflection or
Humanity.
vanity? Okay. Well, you don't have that.
And
You don't have a big problem with vanity, do you?
no.
I mean, you and I, we accept who and what we are, and that's cool. And then when people are vain or do that, we just kind of chuckle about it, right? Isn't that that's basically my motif, right? I don't really get too, when John would go nuts about how he looks and all of that. Have you dropped in on John at all? Have you been taking a look at his channel lately?
No, I don't want to watch it.
Right. It's almost like watching, standing on a corner waiting for a car crash to happen. Yeah, it's like pretty strange. Let's see. Well, it's great to hear your voice, and maybe one day I'll get a passport, or maybe one day you'll come to America. If you came to America, when your niece gets old enough, when she gets to be 14 or 15, come to America, and we'll do a road trip of America.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Is your sister still live in New York?
Yes, of course.
Okay, well there you go. You got a base of operation.
Yes, I do.
Yep. How long did you stay in New York when you went to visit her?
Thing is, when I went to visit her, I've been there 2 times.
Right.
So the first time I was pissing my because like flights
Right.
or heights.
Right.
And when I came there the first time, JFK sprayed in the middle of New York.
Mm-hmm. Were you there a
And
week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month? How long would you stay there?
I was there for a month.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And
Did you go to a
then
Broadway
she
show?
worked
Did you go
for
to the
the UN.
museums? Did you see all that stuff?
Yeah, the thing is, I was alone,
Ah,
and she worked for the UN,
right.
FN, and so from 7 to the morning until 6 o'clock, I didn't see her.
Hmm.
So she gave me a subway card,
Yeah.
and I went alone in New York.
And New York's a great town to do that because New Yorkers are insane, but they're very hospitable.
I know.
They're very hospitable.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, and there are a lot of people. And it's a great, Manhattan's a great thing to walk. I mean, I love taking the buses, because you could see everything. Subways, dark, too smelly. I mean, they're okay if you had to get from point A to point B relatively quickly, but otherwise, I
I
walked.
did the Black Problem.
Right, I walked and I took the bus if I was getting around New York, and
Yeah, I went on my feet.
yeah, and yeah, that's what that's why I'm as old as I am. Is that I lived in New York until I was 38. I walked everywhere. So I was in pretty good shape all the way up to 38. And then I stayed in pretty good shape until I was about 55. And then from about
So I'm
then,
37.
right, when I got into the itinerant scholar and working for the desperate lawyer consulting kind, boy, I went off the hook. I gained almost 300 pounds. So
I did not.
yep. But I had a good
But
time. I had a good time doing it. I tell you,
I get that.
I had a good time,
Yeah.
and I thought the world was going to blow up anyway. So I stopped trying to fix everything, and I just did this job that they paid me a lot of money. It was relatively enjoyable because I could torment really rich people psychologically, and so I did that for almost 11 years, and then I died. And when I died, and I went up there, and I went to when I was in first grade. I went to a Catholic school, and where I ended up when I died was in the cafeteria of that stinky school. It smelled like piss and vomit and that green stuff that they sprinkle on that. And and I was sitting there, and there were all these balloons and hats, and everyone saying "Welcome home," and people patting me on the back. Oh, you did such a great job. And then one of my masters said, "Well, you've been doing a good job." And when he said "doing," that was the tense of like, "What do you mean? Isn't it over? Haven't I come here to?" Nope. And she goes, "Well, sure, you can, but you're not done. So that means you'd have to go back as something else at some other time, some other place. Wouldn't you rather go back as you are and get it done with complete? So the next time you've got a clean slate." I said, "Okay." So I had to come back, and that's why I'm here. So I'm making up that 11%. I still have to. I think I've done 4%, about 11%. So I'm whittling away at it. So I probably have another 10 or 15, 20 years. And my doctors, I go see them. I have 5 doctors, so I see them, one of them once a month, and they're all amazed I'm still alive. They can't believe I can walk, and there are all kinds of things wrong with me, and they go, "I can't believe you're still here." So obviously I'm going to be here until I'm not. So, but I won't do the same things I did before. I'm down to 198 from almost 500. So that's why I'm alive and I can walk. And so you know, I'm taking every day one day at a time and enjoying the heck out of it in the simplest of ways. Like I said, I'm like a millionaire, and I live on $400 a month. So And all the rich people coming in, when I tell that to them, they get very upset. This one guy says, "Well, you shouldn't live here. This isn't for you." I said, "I've been here 20 years. What do you mean it's not here for me?" And well, we're rich, and we deserve this. You know, we're exceptional people. You know, it's like like I said, I just have to laugh at them when people say shit like that. You know, it's like, okay, good luck with that.
Yeah, just fuck them.
Yep. Well, I don't have to fuck them. They fuck themselves. So you know.
Yeah, I know. I didn't mean fuck them. Literally,
Right.
litteraturligt. I mean, just fuck them. Fuck
Right.
off.
Right.
Fucking A.
But that's my little lesson why I'm having to deal with all this. It's not really a big deal because my property is it's down in a holler. So no matter how much noise I make, where I have my little man cave, I can't hear anything. Right. So it's okay.
Good for you.
Right. It's like, okay. When I come out and see them doing all
Yeah.
this crazy shit, it's like, but again, something was coming my way that will be good, and I will go on and do something a little more interesting. And still writing my novels away. Do you have Google Docs? Can you receive Google Docs?
Honestly, Bob,
You don't know.
today, no, the thing is, tonight, I'm just so
No, not today or tonight.
exhausted.
Not even that. But I've been writing these novels. I'd like to send you one of my novels, and you don't have to read it. But if you have Google Docs, it's real easy for me to send it on an email. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So your email address is all I got that. So I'll send you a couple of what I'm writing. Did you were you watching me before I called you? Did you see me reading something?
The thing is, I haven't used the phone the way
That we do.
because no, I've been gone. I've been gone with relatives for 1 fucking month,
Oh, okay,
and I
gotcha.
love them, and
Oh, I got it.
and every
Oh, so I see why you're tired. I got it.
I'm tired.
You're like kind of wore out.
Wore out.
Yep.
Still alive. Still here.
Yep. I hear that. Well, let's see how my battery is doing. Ooh, because I like to finish my. I still got about 20 minutes. I talk so much that often I'll be doing a live stream, and the battery will run out. So it just and it confuses the poor little computer and my YouTube channel. It takes like a day or two more than it normally does to get up there. So I like to leave the YouTube in a nice civilized way, instead of Genghis Khan. So anyway, the other thing is the sun is going down here. The sun is going down here, and it's actually getting cold. I live up in the mountains, and I got shorts on.
Yeah.
So, but it's
Yeah, that's awesome.
yes, and so when the sun is up, it's like a microwave oven. It was like 89 degrees. I don't have a thermostat, and this is, I'm in a mountain range. So I'm down the bottom. And so it's always very humid, right? And so at 60 and 100% humidity, it feels like it's 40, or let's put it in Celsius. It feels like it's 11 degrees, right? Instead of 20. So that's kind of what it is. Anyway, so it's all good. But the light is the most beautiful because the light is still lighting up the tops of the trees, right? Here, I'll turn my computer around so you can see how it looks. Because you came online. I saw you in on the live chat. So that's the forest I live in. And really beautiful. And right now, the cockroaches aren't making any noise. I don't know where they are, but there's no motorcycles. There's no.
There's a. Oh, can you do me a favor?
Yeah, sure, baby.
Can you take some pictures of what are you meaning? Not meaning, what do you see?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Take some pictures.
Yeah, I can do that, and I'll just send them to your phone number, your email. I'll do it both.
Viber.
Right. Okay. Yeah, Viber. Yeah.
All right.
Yep, I can do that.
Now I'm gonna
Say
just
goodnight.
put my fucking head
On the pillow.
to the fucking
Pillow.
fucking A.
Well, sweet dreams, baby. Just. Are you in bed? Are you in bed right now?
Yes, and I wanna just
Okay.
put my head on
So put
the
your
wall or something.
just and breathe deep. Fill your lungs with love. My love to you, and sweet, sweet dreams to you. Betty, bye for you.
Oh. Thank you, Bubba.
Okay, baby.
You're always the best.
Yes, I'll talk to. So this is the weekends are probably the best time to call you, right? Just maybe a little earlier.
I just came here, so I'm just gonna
Crash out, baby time. Go to sleep. I'm saying good. I'm saying sweet dreams, honey bun. Talk to you later.
Sweet dreams.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye. Love you.
Good night.
Good night.
Love you. Good night.
So that's Lana in Sweden, and she's just gotten back from being with a family, and you know how that is, right? I can take it out of you. Let's see. Well, we got another at least 15 minutes. So, did anyone get anything that I read? Yeah, I think I did. I saw the other. Oh, Courtney's there too. Hey there, Court. Danny Pooh and Lana and Token Studies, right? Stop by, say hello. So, anyway, like I said, it's getting a little older. He's there. It's great. You can call Albania. Yep, but not Massachusetts. Sure, I can call Massachusetts, right? I call you all the time. But, the real deal is I'm in my neighbor's deck, and he gets I get Wi-Fi here, and the phone signal is stronger. He's higher up above than I am. And where I am down in the holler, it really is a miracle when I get a phone call. So, Token, give me a break. We talk all the freaking time, So, what else can I say? Did you print out my novel? And I was reading it out loud, about 4 or 5 pages of what I've been just finished writing on Legacy, towards the end of Legacy, page, almost 200. And I may, since I send you my novels via email, I don't know why they would, because of things. Because of things. Yep, things. It's a thingy kind of world we live in, right? We live in a thingy world, right? It's all thingy. Instead of love's co-creation, it's all thingy. And I try not to get caught up in the thingy thing. Don't get caught up in the thingy thing. Okay, gotcha. Okay. So anyway, what else? And your sensei here often doesn't know what he's talking about, and don't believe a word I say. Get off my lawn. The Norris Parliament was called thing. Yep. It still is. That thingy thing gets into you, boy. You know, you gotta watch out. So I'm gonna go myself. Like it's getting a little nippy. The sun is setting and it's not warming me up anymore. Okay, gotta go. Love you guys. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. If it's not raining, if it's not doing this, not doing that, I'll drop in. Let's go to the all thing. Yep. Yep. See, talk to you soon. Okay. I gotta hit this button down here. And then hit this button over here.